Hey, yo, it's me. It's HeelCast. The RVE has arrived. Goldberg, scissor me with your hating ass.
Hey, we're back, baby.
We are back, hopefully, at least for one show out of the year. I've got Goldberg with me, and also with me, I've got the TNA EWCW dude.
Excuse me, that's scissor me daddy ass dude to you. And quite frankly, the whole reason Goldberg couldn't scissor you was because he was too busy scissoring my cheeky sweet ass. Woo!
It's I'm rusty. I think we're all rusty. It's been a year. Goddamn, has it really been over a year for me? And speaking of year, that's the reason why we're here, to recap 2022 and relaunch the HeelCast for 2023. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean,
you know, before we start, I gotta say one thing here.
Oh no,
I do feel a little put up against the wall here because I'm with the #1 AEW attorney, the lawyer RVE. You are the AEW attorney, are you not?
It depends on the topip, but yeah, absolutely. I will.
And then I'm with
I will definitely stand up for it.
The AEW public defender.
who's that?
I'm not AEW's version of Hurls to Impact.
Oh, wait a minute. I do believe that I make fun of TK Tony Khan as much or more than anybody else.
Yeah, but even RVE does that. I mean, that's
Yeah,
not impressive.
Label me an AEW defender, but a Tony Khan defender, please no.
Yeah, if you defended Kenny Omega at any point in your career, you are an AEW public defender. So, do you support Kenny Omega?
That's a tough one. Yes and no. Do not like him. Not a fan. Can't deny the dude puts on some damn good matches.
Public defender. What say you?
You know, this is tough.
That's enough of an answer. I
don't know. It's hard because at one point in time, I mean, like he was pretty hot in the promotion, and like RVE says, does put on some great matches. At the same point in time, like, you know, it's kind of a what have you done for me lately world, and I don't know where he fits in on the card other than in a bunch of 6-man tag matches or biting Punk's ear or nose or whatever the hell he was biting, playing with his dog, whatever the fuck it was. So I don't know. I don't know.
Well, here's
the end of the show.
Here's the thing. We're recapping 2022, and there's going to be a big chunk of this show that is going to come down to, do we defend Kenny Omega and some of his buddies or not? Because that was we look at two stories in 2022. That's one of the two big ones.
Yeah, but that's now. Wait a minute. You asked me just a second ago if I was a fan of his, right?
I didn't.
But Goldberg did, right?
Yes,
I feel like those answers don't have to be the same. I don't feel like those answers have to be the same. I can decide that you're right or wrong in one situation and decide I like you or don't like you separately.
That's true.
So,
okay.
Just saying.
All right. My bad.
Just saying.
So, it's January the 4th, ladies and gentlemen. And it means 2022 is over. And we're going to hop in and recap it. And truthfully, is this the biggest fucking year in history of the wrestling business as far as news goes?
In a very long time. In a very long time.
Exactly. The last thing we're going to talk about, in my opinion, is probably other than WCW getting bought by the WWF at the time. Is this the biggest story in the history of the business so far?
I mean, except for, Hurls would tell you, except for Josh Alexander breaking the record, which I think technically already happened in 2023. Yeah, it's pretty big. So 2023 might be bigger because, Josh Alexander broke the record.
It's true. Bobby
wait a minute.
Is, wiping his tears with money as he jobs out to God knows who.
The TNA Impact attorney, #1 attorney, is not here. So should we really attack Impact right now?
Absolutely.
Should we take 60 seconds and just fucking go to town on Impact right now?
Absolutely.
I did want to do this for Hurls. I did want to say, at least because like everything we're going to talk about is going to be in the big two. It's going to be AEW and WWE. I will give to satisfy Hurls. 2022, Josh Alexander did have himself quite the reign and a good quality year in showing.
You mean whoa? You mean Bret Hart Jr.
Wait a minute, he's better than Bret Hart. I know this because Hurls told me.
And so did Jordan Grace.
The problem is Jordan Grace. Yeah, well, I didn't hear that. The problem with Impact is everything's in a closet. That's the problem with Impact,
including Scott D'Amore.
Apparently not.
It can't be impressive that you have this long reign. I agree with you, RV. When nobody cares, just nobody cares. It's not interesting. And am I wrong, or should it have been Moose?
Oh, don't get us started on that. You know that we are Moose fans here, right? There isn't a person on this show right now.
Is he still on Impact? I don't even know if is he still on Impact?
I mean, I assume he is. Hurls would tell you.
No, Hurls is going to tear us apart for this.
Hurls is going to tell you he's properly booked. That's what Hurls is going to tell you, because he had a good feud with Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, Sammy Guevara. I mean, help me out here. Sammy Callahan. Sammy Callahan. He feuded with Sammy Callahan for a while, folks.
I mean, I know we haven't done a show in a while, but I think that was like 2 years ago.
Nah, man, it wasn't earlier this year.
I don't know.
It's been a while.
I don't know. I haven't seen Moose in a while, I'm going to be honest. I've seen like Brian Myers is doing some stupid internet media bullshit title. I've seen some stupid things, but I haven't seen Moose in a while. I really haven't.
And I haven't watched Impact in a long time to know if Moose has been on
but we follow you. You're on Twitter, right? Like you'd see something. I haven't.
The only time I'm on Twitter is when you guys send me a link in the chat, or I hear Elon Musk is dropping more pipe bombs on the liberals.
All right, so look, at Victory Road, okay, he was in a 3-way barbed wire match with Macklin and Callahan, okay? And this whole thing went from against all odds all the way up with him and Callahan. They threw Macklin in there. But yes, he has pretty much been with Sami Callahan since he lost the belt. He's been feuding with him in one way or another. It looks like he might have moved on at this point with Macklin, but yeah. I'm not that wrong, guys, for crying out loud, man. Y'all just need to get in with your history. Where's Hurls when you need him?
So that wraps up the Impact portion of 2022, and also it sounds like Moose and Sami Callahan's feud should probably shut Goldberg's mouth about the JAS and the BDC feud of 2022, because it sounds like that one somehow went longer and more boring.
Feud of the year, baby. Feud of the year.
Fuck, that's one I didn't put on there. Well, we're going to have to think of that. Feud of the year tonight. We're going to have to improvise and put that at the end. So, gentlemen, are we ready to recap 2022?
Let's do it.
All right. So let's hop into where the big boys play. And 2022 can really only be described as one thing: the year of Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta.
I'm tuning out at this point.
I mean, I was waiting for the laughs.
I'm out of here, man. Goodbye.
Look, I'm going to get some of the stuff that we're not going to discuss. It is honorable mention.
You mean Stone Cold versus The Rock?
Exactly. Yeah, AEW Stone Cold versus The Rock, for crying out loud. Yes. We saw.
What a feud.
It's the feud that keeps on going. Look, 2022. Look, we did see Tony Khan's terrible failing attempt to get Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta over. There's still going to be some smarks. The 5 of you that listen to this show, at least one of you is going to be pissed and try and tell me that they're over, and really well done. We saw the dirt sheets lose more credibility than they ever had before. We saw Ric Flair's last match, and then a week later he was in Puerto Rico involved in another match. We saw Jeff Jarrett return to wrestling at full-time in AEW. We've seen Bray Wyatt come back to the WWE. We've seen the porn star, the train run, Saraya, whatever the fuck, come into AEW in a very lackluster way. We've seen MJF and the Acclaimed be breakout stars. It's been the year where everyone punches Sammy Guevara in the face backstage. And Peacock putting on some documentaries on Ric Flair and Teddy Hart that were really good, and Tales from the Territories came out. I'm rusty. Is the kind of the honorable mention stories before we hop into the big deal. And I know you guys have seen the itinerary. Anything else you want to add in that I may have forgotten?
You mean from minor stories?
Yeah, minor stories.
Well, this might be a good time for me to mention that I think Jeff Jarrett's still the best thing in wrestling.
His world, his way.
I'm not even joking. And I'm going to go with tonight. I don't want to spoil anything tonight, but for you, but
Or for
this
me.
guy, or for you, either one of you. But listen, you guys are the AEW lawyer and the public defender. So you're going to see it one way or another, but I'm not going to give away the match. I don't want to give away the match, but for you, or can I?
I've seen it. I had it on at work. I saw what happened.
Okay, how do you feel about that finish? Real quick.
So I did have the volume down, but I could tell what was going on. They did the restart of the match, and then the Acclaimed won.
That's a cop-out. It's such a cop-out. And well, maybe that's a way to keep the feud going. That's fine. But I have never seen so many people on Twitter turn around and change their mind so quickly as what I just saw on Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Because if you go on Twitter, I don't know if either one of you is that active, but if you go on Twitter, every AEW post involving Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal has been completely hated by the fans. Like, they don't like them. They don't want to see Jeff Jarrett on TV. And then tonight, after that match happened, people are commenting all over the place that those two should have legitimately got the titles.
I wanted him to. I mean, I thought it would have been the smart decision.
Jeff Jarrett, the guy is a legitimate heel. He knows how to be a heel. It's in his blood. He is so good, and he can still go in the ring. Like, there's nothing not to like about this guy. Right?
That's true. And I guess, did this start in, it's a January story, but I was going to say him and Max Caster really brought out the fucking Jerry Springer between Perk Angle and his ex-wife, Jeff Jarrett's now wife. But I believe that was a 2023 story that we'll be talking about in a year from now. Karen being a Karen.
Man. Yeah. What is going on with that? Because they fought. I mean, I saw what happened, but is it a shoot? Like, is this legit?
I think so. I think so. What happened was Kurt said something like, all these years later, X amount of years later, and you still need to mention my name to get heat or something like that. And then I think that set her off or some shit. I don't know. Maybe her and Jeff are hitting the sauce again. But Perk Angle fucked Don Marie and Kelly. And I just got to say, like, this man wasn't the icon already and a legend. Like, Kurt, you are the fucking man.
Yeah. How old was Don Marie at that point? But Kelly, woo.
Dude, I don't care. When she came into WWF or WWE in like 2004 or 5, she was still looking good.
Oh, so we're talking about back then.
Well, I'm sure he wasn't banging her in the ECW days.
If I was Kurt, I would just respond to Karen and just be like, well, do you blame me?
Right.
Come on, man. All
right. So we moving forward?
Yes.
Yeah, we just needed some appreciation for Jeff Jarrett.
For good old Double J. So, I mean, always the worst news. And I know this isn't chronologically correct, but the worst news of the year, probably the passing of the bad guy, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, a true legend and icon. I didn't get to say anything on it. I mean, it's. I know we did the tribute show to it. I've listened to it. You guys did a great job, and there's not a lot to say, but this was a true icon. One of who didn't love this guy? Who was not a fan of Scott Hall? Disappointed. You see the guy who was in such terrible shape as a human being after wrestling and getting together with DDP and changing his life around and getting sober, getting into the Hall of Fame, being active. For him to go after getting everything taken care of together, it's just devastating and heartbreaking. It's a huge loss for the wrestling business. I apologize for everyone else that I have probably forgotten that passed away this year that has been in the wrestling business to not mention, because this was a big story, and just truly an icon and one of everyone's favorites. My God, he started the NWO. Scott Hall passing away. Dude, anything you want to add in here?
Now we had a show on this. I talked about already. It's just the poor guy. Poor guy. You know, he. You could say he had a great life, but you could also say he lived a pretty rough life. So, Rest in peace, big man.
Goldberg, kick it over to you. I know you were on the show too. Anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, no, I echo those sentiments. I said what I wanted to say. I love him. He'll be a legend forever, and I'll always. He's one of those guys. I'll always go back and watch old YouTube clips, and the fact that he started the NWO, which is my favorite group in history, and he's be a legend forever.
The guy that made being a heel be cool,
Right.
for sure. You know, he kicked it off him, and then Kevin Nash in there. Truly a huge loss for the professional wrestling community, and of course to his family and friends and loved ones. I personally want to go off script for a minute too when we talk about our friends that we've lost in the wrestling business throughout the year. I never got a chance to do this on air. A much lesser known contributor to the wrestling business, a man who became basically he lived a fan's dream. A good friend of mine, Freddie Fargo, who actually ended up becoming the manager of the Fabulous Freebirds back in I think it was the WCCW days, basically the Dallas days. He tried to be a punk rock journalist, was a huge wrestling fan, was in the crowd, and it was the only motherfucker in the crowd cheering for the Freebirds over the Von Erichs back then, and the Freebirds took a liking to him and brought him in as the manager. And I met this guy through Impact Asylum. Of course, the way I met just about everyone back in those days, about on the wrestling forums, was I got in an argument with the guy. As time went on, I thought this guy's a fucking asshole, but then the stuff he would say, I was kind of like, man, this guy kind of seems like he's either full of shit or he's actually like been in the wrestling business or something. And, I got to actually show more respect for the guy. I got to know him a little bit. I knew he'd sold a bunch of DVDs and stuff like that. He had a huge collection. And that's how I met him was buying some DVDs. I asked him who he was. He was open with me about it as long as I kept it a secret. And I love this guy to death, man. He became a really good friend of mine over the years. If it weren't for him, I was engaged in conversations on Facebook with Mick Foley, Dr. James Mitchell, the Patriot, Del Wilkes. He was Mick Foley even said he was very instrumental in Mick Foley's career when he was younger, letting him crash at his place, watching tapes and all that. So Freddie, also a good friend of Old School Heels. Look, man, I'm going to miss this guy forever. He was an awesome person, awesome human being.
Ironically, a very good friend of Kevin Nash as well.
Was he? I was unaware.
Yeah, anytime Kevin Nash is in town, Freddie would go and have lunch with him.
Huh. That's one thing I did not know about Freddie. He was also Awesome Kong's neighbor. I know Awesome Kong is one of the only, I think he said 3 or 4 autographs in the wrestling business he's actually kept. He was very, very close with Terry Bam Bam Gordy. I know that for sure. It's just, yeah, it's a tough one. I'm gonna miss the guy. Those of us at Impact Asylum, I know we all kind of had our thoughts and everything set on there for him and stuff like that. But maybe some listeners who are unaware, this was a good friend of mine, and it's definitely a devastating loss.
It was awful.
All right, well, let's hop into 2022. So I guess the first really big fucking story, man, like is this true? Is it a rumor? There's no way this is possible, but Cody Rhodes, one of the co-founders and EVPs of AEW, leaves AEW and returns to the WWE at WrestleMania. And if it weren't for the injury, it seems like they were pushing Cody Rhodes to be the guy, the big star of the company. After all these years, he goes back to the place he never would. And then, of course, it makes us wonder what the fuck's going on inside of AEW, which I think we'll get a little bit more into later. But Goldberg, your thoughts on Cody Rhodes leaving?
Yeah, I mean, maybe hindsight is 20/20, but it didn't surprise me as much as probably everybody else. I mean, maybe because the rumors were kind of around for a while before it actually happened, but it is wild that he's, one of the, I guess, founding members of AEW, and the fact that he left, but it just something, I mean, it just didn't surprise me, because I feel like he's a man, and he was like, when we talk about the Young Bucks, and we talk about Kenny Omega, and we talk about Hangman Adam Page, your guys' favorite wrestler. When we talk about these guys, Cody Rhodes just seems like a man, and they seem like boys to me. And I think he got sick of these guys, and it just didn't seem. It seemed fitting for him to go back, for at least in my opinion. I mean, yeah, it was shocking, but the writing was on the wall for a little while, and I do think. I mean, you don't agree, but I do think he made the right move, because he's going to come back now. He may be the guy to dethrone Roman Reigns. I mean, his name's going to be bigger now than it's ever been before, and I'm fine with the move, and I'm glad he made the move, and I'll probably tune in when he beats Roman Reigns. But yeah, I don't think I was as surprised, but it's probably because, like I said, the writing was on the wall for a few months.
Is he back yet?
No.
Apparently,
but
he was like cameo on TV Friday or last Monday or something, or actually 2 days ago Monday. I don't know.
Because see, the thing is that he's lost a lot of momentum being out all these months, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure that he. The only reason I think that he might still be the guy to, dethrone Roman is because ain't nobody else left to dethrone Roman except maybe Logan Paul. I mean, who else?
Yeah.
Right? Who else is really like legitimate right now in that company? Nobody. It's like they literally are just holding it for him, or Roman already beaten up everybody else, and so they suddenly can't come and take him down, right? So he's the only guy. But in reality, I mean, he is lost a lot of momentum and a lot of steam with that injury. Truth be told. But yeah, I agree with what you guys said. This is definitely a situation where, he's a man amongst boys. He was just more mature than the rest of them. But it shouldn't surprise anybody, because he left WWE to prove himself. And he did. So at that point in time, he can go back and claim the spot. He never left WWE because he hates WWE or he has to be the alternative. He went, I'm going to go out on my own. I'm going to make my own way, and I'm going to do my own thing, and I'm going to prove it to you. Well, he did, and he came back.
Well, let's see. I mean, the guy did say he was never going to go back. I mean, the first fucking show of AEW, he takes a sledgehammer and beats the throne. Triple H takes shots at the WWE.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who cares? But I mean, it's wrestling, right?
I mean, obviously, hindsight being 2020, and you looked at 2022, 2023. Of course, who cares now?
Bret Hart punched Vince McMahon in the face and still went back.
I mean, it took a while, but
only Macho Man didn't go back. Okay.
Yeah, there is one reason for. Don't be a pedophile with the boss's daughter.
I mean, it could be a thing, but I'm just saying they all go back. So this is like, yeah, whatever.
And well, I mean, the thing here with Cody, I mean, I guess it was a little bit shocking for me. I think one thing that really shot him in the foot is right off the bat within the first 4 months of the company. It's like, if I lose this match, I'll never challenge for the AEW World Title again. And he loses it instead of be a man of his word. Like, you're stuck at the TNT title range, and he had said, I didn't want to just be the TNT champion for life. And it's shocking. We hear these rumors. There were rumors earlier on, which Goldberg had brought up, that there was some disagreements between Tony Khan, the Elite, and Cody Rhodes, but he's still one of the co-founders. He's an EVP. We didn't see him on WWE at all. We kept thinking, okay, it's a work. They're working us. He had that match with Sammy Guevara. He almost was TNT champion, like a week or two before they said his contract was up. His Brandy was on TV calling herself the black bitch and getting called a whore by Dan Lambert, right before it happened, pretty much, before they said the contract was gone. It was almost a TNA Impact thing where you're still writing the people on TV, even though their contract's up, and they're fucking walking out on you the next day. But you turned on WrestleMania to see the Seth Rollins saying half of me was expecting Cody, half of me was expecting something else. And then wrestling has more than one royal family. And his AEW thing goes, and he's been the big deal. But yeah, he's lost some steam for sure. Props to the guy for, obviously you could see he was in a lot of pain that last match, but did he make the right decision? If they're pushing him to be the biggest deal in the company, the one to dethrone Roman Reigns, yeah, absolutely he did. But again, it's the WWE way. All he did was wrestle Seth Rollins over and over and fucking over, like every goddamn WWE feud it is. And it's like, this isn't better. It's just doing Sammy Guevara, but it's Seth Rollins this time around. But I'm sure he's making plenty of money. And it remains to be seen now that Vince McMahon is gone if Triple H has the same faith in the guy. Anyone else chime in on Cody Rhodes before we move on? I'm going to take that as a no. Also, so WrestleMania Night 1. We knew he was going to be there. The rumors were true. We knew he was going to get involved, but Stone Cold Steve Austin actually had a full-blown wrestling match. The first one since WrestleMania 19. That's 19 years later.
Wow.
And it was fucking entertaining. It was good. And for the first time in God knows how many years, WrestleMania didn't suck, at least the first night. I mean, the WWE, it wasn't good, but it didn't suck. The WWE Universe acted like they'd won the Super Bowl or hit the $1 billion lottery. And then night 2 took them back to reality that it still sucks. But, I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin was back. The worst stunner in history took place, but man, it was awesome. Goldberg, your thoughts on the return of Stone Cold?
Yeah, I was a little at the beginning before, like it didn't seem like he was going to have a legitimate match, if I remember correctly. So I was pleasantly surprised when they actually rang the bell and he actually got a little physical. And yeah, that stunner was ridiculous, but I think Stone, I mean, I guess we're going, how long ago was this now? March?
April, the start of April, I believe.
April. So April, we're talking now almost 8 months later. So could he have another match? I don't know, but it was nice to see him again. And I mean, let's face it, he's a top 5 wrestler all time, probably. So it was nice to see him again.
Top 5 talent for sure. I don't know if he's
Talent.
top 5. Yeah, I don't know that he's top 5 all time. I don't think he lasted long enough to make Rushmore. But let's face it, he stole that show in a big way. And he basically, they honestly never should have done that. I know why they did it. I'm glad they did it. I watched it. But they never should have done it because he literally just showed that nobody on that roster has a fucking lick of talent. Is only thing they accomplished was Stone Cold Steve Austin walking in, didn't even have to say a word, okay? And It was just apparent that nobody on that roster has a lick of talent. And I don't care what they think they're doing with NXT. I don't care what they think that they're doing with that, the camp that they got down there and whatnot. They aren't putting out talent in any way, shape, or form. And he just literally proved it. He's coming in cold too. Okay, he hasn't been on the road or been in a match in how freaking long, and he just comes in and just freaking not even funny. Not even funny.
Yeah, the one thing that blows my mind here is you guys are saying, is he not long enough for Mount Rushmore? What in the fuck are you guys talking about, man? This is if this is number 1 or number 2 of the biggest draws in the history of this entire business. The man lifted the boom of the wrestling business to heights it had never seen before. This dude is Mount Rushmore. He's one of the 3.
My God.
There's one of the 3, and then you take your 4 and fucking think of it. As far as in-ring worker, no. Overall, like stardom, power, yeah, he's fucking 1A or 1B.
He was on top for like 3 years. Maybe.
He was the entire Attitude Era, man.
You had Rock. Okay. Rock started out shining. Okay. You had, he was taking it at a time when it had already been lifted up from the dead by the NWO. Now, I'm not knocking the guy's talent. I'm not knocking him at all. I'm just saying that he was only on top for a short blip. This isn't like Flair or Hogan or San Martino or Thez or Andre that were on top for freaking decades on end. That's why I'm saying not right. I'm not knocking the guy's talent. I'm not a hater of him. I love him. I think he's awesome. Like I said, he just freaking told the entire roster and everybody else's roster too. This is what talent is. But
You know,
but
the names you just
Rushmore,
mentioned, the names you just mentioned, will take Hogan out of the equation. You're goddamn right. He's not San Martino or Ric Flair or whoever the fuck, because he outdrew them all. He was a bigger star than all of them. The only person that even comes close to him, it's him and Hogan. And then The Rock right underneath him. As far as the biggest draws and stars in the history of pro wrestling, it's Hogan, it's Austin, it's Rock. There's no argument after that. The argument starts with who's number 4. Anyways, I think we're off topic because we were just trying to talk about the dude beating up Kevin Owens' fat ass. Am I right?
Yeah, well, another guy that just proved that he had no talent when he got in the ring with Austin. It's like, I would not want to have drawn that particular card at WrestleMania to draw Steve Austin. It's like, you're nuts.
You know who showed that they had the least talent of all, though? It was Vince McMahon. I understand the dude's borderline 80. He's my dad's age, but that stunner was something bad. That stunner was so bad. If it happened on AEW, Goldberg would send us a dozen text messages.
I mean, an 80-year-old. Is he 80? I feel like he's older.
I think he's 78.
He's close to 80. He's close.
Is he only 78? I gotta look this up. He is. Oh my gosh, he's 77.
Yeah, he's not. He's yeah.
Yeah, I think the roids are catching up to him finally. He looks like shit.
Dude, my dad is 78. My dad looks a lot better than Vince and does not have billions of dollars.
My dad's 80 and he looks a hell of a lot better than Vince.
Yeah, could your dad sell a stunner though?
My dad could probably take the stunner better than Vince did at WrestleMania 38.
Yeah,
I feel like my dead grandmother could. I feel like my dead grandmother could take it better. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
It was pretty bad, but you know what I've realized since you bring that up? Like, I do see clips all the time on YouTube or Twitter of things in the past that I would say, if it happened now, I'd say, God, that is so fucking stupid. I got to send it to AEW's number 1 attorney, RVE. But I don't, because I realize it was good back then. And it was, maybe I was younger, but it was somewhat believable back then and not as stupid. And if they did things they did back then now, it would not land. It just wouldn't hold up. It was a different time.
And a better time.
A much better time.
So speaking of something that happened now that was done back then, and we're on Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin years ago notoriously took his ball and went home. Sasha Banks and Naomi took their balls and walked out on the WWE. And after the news today, I can tell you one of them's not coming back anytime soon. They had Corey Graves go out and say they had left, turn their back on the WWE and its fans and all that. This is a who gives a shit moment for me because it's women's wrestling and a company I don't really watch. But Sasha Banks is a big enough star. The other one's married to the Uso, one of them. Dude, any comments on this?
No, I don't really watch WWE.
Right, what about Goldberg?
So we're talking about Sasha leaving?
Yeah, Sasha and Naomi.
Well, I think Naomi realized she's a loser and no one cares about her, so she's going back. But Sasha, pretty sure she's a decent enough name, and we know. Spoiler alert.
She's on fire in NJPW, man. She's on fire.
On fire? She had a horrible debut.
She's on fire. I know. They burned the building
think it was
down
called
because
sarcasm.
of how bad she was, man.
Oh, okay. So horrible debut, but spoiler alert, she's gonna be on AEW. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said Impact. She's gonna be Saraya, who also sucks, as mystery partner. So,
God,
right.
Are we looking forward to that? Sure.
Only if she cuts another promo like that and hits her finish really well again.
Yeah, what are they going to do with her in the future? Sure, they're going to give her a title shot in the next month, but I'm not interested in women. Oh wait,
you're not interested in women.
That didn't come off
Tell
right.
us something we don't
Let
know.
me rephrase that.
Scott D'Amore is commenting as we speak.
I'm not interested in women's wrestling.
I'm not.
I know what I heard.
Think about her being that mystery partner. Truth be told, I forgot there was even the mystery partner thing.
Well, they claimed tonight it was going to. Sorry, but they claimed tonight it was going to be Toni Storm, but we know that's a ruse.
Yeah, I thought Toni Storm was the no-brainer for that, but yeah, you might. We'll see. I think the Sasha Banks debut is definitely a January thing. I think it's going to be a big discussion for the next HeelCast. To be honest with you, it's so far it's the story of the year in the wrestling world. 4 days in.
Can I just say something here real quick? Like, if Toni Storm is not Soraya's partner and she needs a partner, I would be glad to fill in and be her partner.
I think Soraya's had plenty of tag team.
I'm talking about Toni Storm's partner. Soraya's got a partner. I want to be Toni Storm's partner. You can have Saraya along with the rest of the population that's already had Saraya.
You know what? I'd still take it. Who are we kidding? All right. So, with CM Punk is a huge deal with 2022. And years ago, his claim to fame was the pipe bomb. We had another pipe bomb this year. We had, it was before Double or Nothing, the day before the Fan Access. MJF no-showed and apparently booked a plane ticket, and the dirt sheets, the wrestling media, everything went fucking nuts like I've never seen until, All Out's press conference scrum. But the next day, after getting squashed by Wardlow, MJF comes out and rips Tony Khan a new asshole, calling him a fucking mark, and drops the fucking pipe bomb of 2022. Goldberg, I know you don't like AEW, but I know you have been an MJF guy. This is not the MJF that you were not liking so much. Your thoughts on what happened here?
Yeah, I mean, this drew me in. Anytime that the lines are blurred and I don't know what's real and what's not, and I still don't know what's real and what wasn't at that time, considering he's still around and he's the champion right now. But I love it. I love when I have to question whether it's real or not. I love it. And he was the guy. I mean, at that time, he's the only reason I would tune in to AEW is to see one of his promos. Have they gotten a little bland and stale and they're the same now? It may be up for discussion. You may not want to discuss it, but could it be true? Maybe. Maybe all his promos are the same, but he is the reason I tuned in. I'm glad they gave him the title. I don't know what's real and what wasn't with him because all his promos are kind of questioning whether he's going to go to WWE or not at some point. So I'm pretty sure it's his shtick, but I do like the guy. I'm glad they gave him the title, and it should have been Moose.
It should have been Moose. I like him. I do agree that his promos and his shtick is pretty similar. It's gotten better over the years. I saw him in Maryland's Championship Wrestling a couple times, before he even made it to MLW, and he did stupid stuff in the ring. He was over, by the way. Everybody loved him, but he did dumb things like, it'd be a three-way match, and he'd make a deal with the other heel to take out the good guy, but he'd put his fingers behind his back and cross them and just do stupid, silly, cheap heat stuff, and he's still doing cheap heat stuff. It's not quite as cheap as that anymore, but I definitely understand where you're coming from with that, Goldberg. Does this still make me an apologizer? Because it feels like every year the apologizer here. But throwing that one at you. But at the same point in time, I mean, I think that they had to get him the belt at some point. I just don't think it was a little too soon. I think that he needs to mature his act a little bit. And if you look at kind of how the company's been since he got the belt, it's been pretty stale. It's just not on fire, and that's kind of part of his shtick as the world champion is to help put it on fire. I don't think he carries the company as well as Moxley does. And I think that they've really missed a big opportunity with him. They took him out with the pipe bomb, and then they just had Tony Khan kind of come crawling back to him. They should have had him come back on his own, taking over, making demands, and capitalizing on it, and they just didn't. And I think that is definitely part of the reason why the things aren't hotter than they are.
So, and granted, we're kind of drifting a little bit, but I guess it's still, into 2022. But look, is MJF lighting the? I thought this guy would be building himself to be the biggest star in the business right now. He's not. I'm not necessarily going to blame him. I'm going to say he's given the hands that he's dealt with. They're not using him properly, in my opinion, right now since he's been the champion. But, I'm going to rewind. You say it was maybe too soon to put the belt on him? No, it was fucking too late before they put the belt on this guy. This guy should have been champ a long time ago. This guy, for me, is the best thing since Bret the Hitman Hart. He is my favorite fucking thing in wrestling by far. Pun intended, he is the definition of an old school heel territory style. Like, he is never out of character. The hype bomb promo that he put is one of the best fucking promos in the history of the wrestling business. I'll put it top 5, top 10, whatever the fuck you want to call it. This was incredible. Taking him off TV, it was a good thing for a little bit. I still felt like you needed him on TV. Other than CM Punk, he was the highest rated segment just about every fucking week. And he's a champ. He should be. And I think when we get into the scrum and what happened, because you say this isn't as hot as it should be lighting it on fire. I think you can blame a lot of that shit on CM Punk for what he did and the aftermath that happened from there. But it is what it is. We're here where we are now. I think it's the year of MJF. They just need to showcase the guy better. I don't think there's anyone even near his level in the entire business.
How do you think that he stacks up against Roman Reigns if he went to WWE and worked with Roman Reigns? How does that go?
I think MJF fucking embarrasses the guy on the goddamn mic.
Yeah, but in the ring, yeah.
You know what? Did the Ultimate Warrior, did Hulk Hogan, were they the best worker? Did they embarrass anyone in the ring?
No. That's not what I mean. I mean looks. I mean
he's half the guy's size.
Yeah. Well, that and yeah, just like MJF does kind of come off to me, and I didn't feel this way at first. I really didn't, because I agree with you, RV. I love the fact that he keeps kayfabe, like no matter where he goes, autograph signings. I love it. I love that he does that, but it does come off as a little jokey and a little Miz-like. It does, and it's kind of like it kind of sometimes reaches the point where, like, okay, you're coming out, you're gonna make fun of their sports team, you're gonna make fun of the crowd, they're ugly, their girls are ugly. Like, it's the same thing, and like they need to do. You're right, it may not be his fault, but they have to do something else with him. I don't know what it is, but they have to broaden his character or his storyline or something a little bit, to the point where it's not just him coming out making fun of everyone. Like, it reaches the point to me where it is Miz-like, and it's almost not believable anymore. Like, I felt like he was a legitimate asshole at first. Now I feel like he's coming out and doing shtick.
Well, I mean, let me ask you a question, yeah. Goldberg. Yeah. For when you look at MJF, is MJF who's writing his stories? Who's writing his lines?
I think he is. Right,
exactly. So that's where his creative ability stops.
Yeah.
You need to get other bodies in there, other brains in there. And so what you need, and if Hurls is here, Hurls is jumping all over this and saying you actually need to hire a writer.
Yeah.
You got one guy writing the show, and he's limited. Right? You need to have other ideas infused for other people. That's why they constantly change booking teams. It's not because you suddenly suck. It's because I need to infuse new ideas. I'm going to throw you in the back. You're going to do something different for a while, recharge your batteries, come back up with new ideas, and then we swap you out. They're not doing that.
Yeah, gentlemen, I want to... Oh, sorry. Goldberg, go ahead. I just don't want us to get too off track, because I feel like this is for the first HeelCast of 2023.
I'm good. I'm good. I wanted to see what you had to say, RV, in response to. I mean, do you feel like his shtick has kind of gotten a little repetitive and like a little jokey, or not at all?
I think it's gotten a little repetitive. I mean, he's supposed to be the smart ass, a little bit jokey. Sure, it's been him since the start. I think it's maybe getting a little repetitive because they're not giving him anything to do with it. Obviously, we're going to see him and Bryan Danielson is going to be the Revolution main event. It's pretty much a no-brainer. I think they need to start building on that. I do think, and I'll say this before we move on, a writer is absolutely needed. I think Jeff Jarrett being a part of the company is a very, very good thing if Tony Khan will open his ears and listen to someone who's been there, done that, and grown a business.
All right. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to go too on about this, but
because this is what I want this discussion. I think this is the main topic of griping for all of us with AEW. But let's save it for next week or a week or two when we're more on topic. You guys in agreement here?
Yes.
All right.
Goldberg?
No, I mean,
sound like you're ready, brother.
It's like mid card like it's coming off as mid card to me because it reminds me of the Miz. It just reminds me of the Miz.
It comes off as mid card because of how cheesy it is.
It's cheesy. That's what it is.
Card because you're wrestling fucking Ricky Starks. Yeah,
I like Ricky Starks.
I don't mind Ricky Starks is like a star. I think he's going to be. I think he's got star quality.
He held his own. I mean, listen. We all love the mic. We all love MJF on the mic, but Ricky Starks held his own.
Yes, he did.
But he's mid card right now. Is he 2023's breakout star? In my opinion, yeah. It's time. It's going to happen.
He also looks mid card. He's got a look of a mid carder.
He does, doesn't he?
Ricky or MJF?
Ricky. But
he looks like a skinny version of The Rock when he was Rocky.
Yeah, but their whole divisions are fucked up in general, so it's hard to. I mean, they've got. Listen, if you guys just saw the main event, I mean, I just saw the results on Twitter, and
yeah, I understand. No, we don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, I don't want to know that. I'm watching. It's live from me now. I'm watching Stocks against Jericho right now.
You already called it several days ago, RV. This is not a shock, but
essentially I just spoiled it for you anyway by saying what I just said. So
yeah. Okay.
But let's move on.
All right. So unfortunately, someone that we thought had moved on from their past demons and all that did not. They defeat the Young Bucks, and they're getting the tag title shot in a ladder match, and the Hardy Boys final fucking run is happening. You got Jeff Hardy doing all sorts of crazy shit. Matt can hardly walk, and Jeff Hardy gets another DUI. Very unfortunate. This time I become with actual prison time. And look, we know in this country, if you're rich and famous, things get a little bit easier. Slap on the wrists than the normal folks most of the times. But this is just devastating. Heartbreaking, man. I was so excited to have Jeff back in AEW. I can't remember who I went to first last time, so I'll kick it to the dude because I don't think you said much on the last topic or the one prior.
I mean, yeah, it's a shame. This is Jeff Hardy, unfortunately. You know, they were supposed to win the AEW tag team titles too. So I mean, like, they had big plans for the Hardys, and this is all what we wanted to see. And unfortunately, you know, he suffered his own unfortunate twist of fate. And yeah.
Ooh, well played.
Real fast before we go to Goldberg, how ironic is it that he was involved in an angle with Sting before he fucks up with the booze again?
Oh, we have to go there too.
Victory Road. Goldberg, your thoughts on?
I mean, it sucks. It sucks because I like Jeff Hardy, and I liked him. He grew on me so much when he went to TNA. And became that singles wrestler and the champ and joined Hogan's group and whatnot. He took another step, but it sucks, dude. I don't know how this guy's gonna overcome like his problem, his drinking problem, or whatever he's doing. But I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm selfish. I want to see him back in the ring.
I mean, I do too, man. I really do. I, as a human being aspect overall, I hope he gets his shit together. Just as a human
being.
He's
in better shape than his brother after all the shit he's done.
Exactly. You know, it's just, you know, for a physical perspective, not necessarily physical condition, but what he's ingesting into his body. I hope that he gets his shit together for that run, or that matter, just as a human being. I hope, as a fan standpoint, as a selfish aspect, I hope he gets his shit together and can get this worked out and get back in the ring in time before Matt can literally not walk at all. Because if you watch Matt Hardy, he's getting close to not being able to fucking walk at all.
Well, I think a story came out yesterday that Jeff Hardy is not going to return like ever. I think he's done.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw it. I might have saw it today, actually.
I heard his court date got postponed until January the 18th.
Yeah, that's the last I heard.
Yeah.
Nah, there was saw an article. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. Jeff Hardy may never return to the ring, which I don't know if that's much. Oh, here you go. Jeff Hardy may not return to pro wrestling.
May not. Doesn't mean he isn't.
Yeah, I don't know. Speaking about Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy has suggested his brother may not return to professional wrestling. He said it's just very unfortunate the things that happen with Jeff. Maybe he comes back, maybe he doesn't. Wow, what a fucking really good thought. Like, I could have said that about him. We really need that thought from his brother. He might come back and he might not.
Well, I'm sure Matt is extremely disappointed. I mean, how many times has he had to deal with this? And obviously Matt Hardy had his own personal demons and issues that he seemed to have moved on from, other than having who he has as a wife. But you know, this was his last real meal ticket, you know. Let's be honest, he left WWE to do AEW because he could have his own creative freedom, and the broken Matt shit flopped pretty much immediately. COVID happened, and it just wasn't. It was bad here, you know. And then, you know, the big money Matt stuff, it was just his gimmick he did in Impact when everyone was pissed off he was the world champ. And then, you know, the Andrade shit, which we can get into it at one point, but you know, this is his last fucking run to get going. And I mean, it's a big deal. You know, they're wrestling the Bucks, which, you know, a lot of folks see as a dream match. You know, there's fucking Lucha Brothers, there's FTR, there's the best tag team division of wrestling by far. And the best tag team division that the business has seen in a long time. Hell, I mean, Forbidden Door, the Motor City Machine Guns could have came in. You know, there was a lot of stuff they could have done. They get nothing out of it. I mean, we're gonna hop into the two big stories now, because I think we're running a little bit low on time here, gentlemen. I'll just run quick. We had the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, which saw Adam Cole get a serious injury that he might, or not, yeah, Adam Cole, he might not return from. ROH is relaunching in 2023 on an embarrassingly bad platform, but let's go to the two big stories so we can get this going. Am I right?
Let's do it.
Okay. So CM Punk is back. There started being a bunch of rumblings that the AEW locker room is toxic. There's all sorts of problem, and it's like a fucking, you know, WCW levels of bad. You got rumors of Thunder Rosa sandbagging, and no one likes Thunder Rosa. Sammy Guevara getting in fights. But then we have the pay-per-view. We get to All Out. CM Punk defeats Jon Moxley for the world title. MJF returns as the Joker, setting up the CM Punk versus the Devil. Big time pay-per-view. And then we get to this press conference. And what in the fuck? CM Punk just goes nuts. He's literally eating with his mouth open, like disgusting up there, but it literally just goes into talking shit about, you know, calling the elite, talking shit about Hangman Page and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, and just calling them fucking idiots, fucking children, completely throwing them under the bus in something I've literally never seen done before. Going off about Colt Cabana in some rant. And this is also knowing that right after this match is finished, CM Punk has severely injured himself again. And then a fight erupts backstage. Says if anyone has a problem with him or what he said, to come see them backstage. Who knows what happened with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks? Of course, they're going to get called out and go confront him. Leads to a fist fight. Rumors CM Punk punched, was it Nick or Matt Jackson twice, knocked him out. His dog was involved. Kenny Omega got bit by whoever the fuck was it Ace Steel? What's the dude's name? Which leads to all of them being suspended for a while. You have new trios champions. You have the new world champion. All those titles are stripped. It's a huge mess. The CM Punk versus MJF thing doesn't happen because the CM Punk was saying these guys are stepping on your own dick. He steps on his own. MJF's heat is killed. Moxley gets thrown back in there and was just weak. His collar got to step up, leading to MJF defeating Moxley. But my God, this was a mess. I've never seen a mess like this. And dude, it's on you. The floor's on you.
Man, God, Punk is we talked about this before. I was asked, am I a Kenny Omega fan? And do I like Kenny Omega? And I'm lukewarm, right? Or Luke Cold maybe at this point. But honestly, do you blame him? Do you blame those guys? You got some idiot jack-off out there running his mouth, saying stupid shit at stupid timing. Part of me was like, when it happened, was like, all right, maybe he knew he was injured and he was like, fuck this, I'm just not coming back. I'm going to spout my mouth. But apparently he had told Tony Khan, you just wait until this press conference. I'm gonna spout off. And Tony Khan just sat there picking his ass the whole goddamn time and let it happen. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you idiot? If ever there was a time where Tony Khan looked like he had no control over his company, that was it. And then you say to yourself, all right, what are the chances that this whole thing could be a work? Like 0. Because he just had MJF in a work take some time off, and he fucked it up. He didn't even get that right. What makes you think he's going to turn right back around and do another pipe bomb and actually get it right on the night that he ruined MJF's, right? So no chance. Punk is a cancer. He's been a cancer everywhere that he's ever been. People don't like Punk. Punk says, well, it's because I say what the hell I'm thinking. Well, maybe, but maybe you're just a jackass. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, man, this is the same guy that said we need to all support each other in the locker room, made a whole big shtick out of it, and ran the whole goddamn thing under the bus. But it just goes to show you that Punk never had any business being the world champion. He didn't need the belt. Okay, the company didn't need to give him the belt. They just did anyway. And what happens once he goes off and he gets injured or something like that? So then they have to take it off, and they have to make Moxley interim. And he comes back and they give him the belt again. And he gets hurt the same night, and then he does this bullshit. It was completely mismanaged by the company, and they almost get what they deserve because of it.
RV, let's hear from you. It's your company.
That's right. Here comes the lawyer.
Yeah, fucking defend this, man. I don't know who was in the wrong. I know if I was on Megan the Young Bucks and someone called me out like that, yeah, I'm not, as a man, I'm not gonna take this. I think that, if you look at it, there's all these rumors like the locker room is a fucking disaster. And it was reported there were meetings like a couple of days before this, like with the leaders saying, hey, let's all get on the same page. Let's get together. And then you have Eddie Kingston punching Sammy Guevara in the face like the next day. And then they go to the pay-per-view and this happens. They suspend everyone so the investigation can go on. I don't want a dog getting hurt, but I don't think he did. I think there's a lot of made up bullshit. And he said, she said, and so Chris Jericho has apparently squashed any thought of Punk coming back if all sides can settle things and coming to him after this happened and calling him a cancer. Who was right and who was in the wrong? I mean, so here's the thing. Like, this all apparently starts because Hangman Page, when they do the promo together before their pay-per-view matches, saying like guys in the locker room don't want him or whatever. So, and then to me that just seemed kayfabe. Like, okay, they're cutting a promo to try and fucking sell a match, which apparently had some legitimacy to it. And then, Punk comes back, and it's like a 2 or 3 week thing where he fucking fights Moxley, gets squashed, comes back and does it. But, he immediately calls out Hangman Page in this very awkward thing in the ring, and it's like, okay, what the fuck is going on here? And then, there's what CM Punk did was the most unprofessional thing I think I've ever seen done. It made Tony Khan look like a bigger joke than he makes himself look, which is hard to do. This is some shit that you do in the back together as men, face to face. You squat. You don't go public with this. I don't know what the fuck CM Punk was talking. Like, I pay attention to this shit. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about when he starts going on a rant about Colt Cabana and all these people saying this and that. It's like the report that I saw was like they weren't going to re-sign Colt Cabana, and then some wrestlers backstage thought that he was detrimental, so they signed him to ROH. That was it. And then he's going off about Colt Cabana, who they make this fucking guy relevant. And nobody was really in the right here. I think everyone looked bad and stupid, and you can't justify this. It's just like LOL AEW to the 10th degree. But then I think how it's been handled afterwards is, the guest opponent for Jericho is Colt Cabana, is shot at CM Punk. And then the Young Bucks come back in their first match on TV. They're doing the biting thing. They're botching the the buckshot lariat on purpose to mock CM Punk in Chicago and stuff like that. And that's extremely immature. I don't think anyone looks good in this. It hurt the company. I think it derailed the shit out of MJF, just putting the belt right back on Moxley. I feel bad for Moxley. Props to the guy, but it's put a big stain on AEW, and I think everything that's happened since then has crushed the momentum of this company. So Goldberg, your thoughts?
Well, for me, it's hard for me to pick a side because I think they're all fucking idiots between CM Punk, the Bucks, Hangman Adam Page, and I don't know who got involved with the dog, but whoever did that. So, if that part was true, who was that? Who got involved with the dog?
They say
Kenny Omega saved the dog or did something. I thought Kenny Omega jumped in to actually
got the dog out of the way, and then is his name Ace Steel?
Yes.
This motherfucker apparently by Omega.
Okay, Ace Steel. You mean you're the AEW lawyer, and you don't know that Ace Steel was the guy that they actually had the audacity to put on television right before this happened?
So I saw him and I asked myself, who the fuck is Ace Steel? And then
but do you see anything wrong with that? You had to ask yourself, who's this guy they just put on television?
Yes, I do.
Randomly out of nowhere.
And then afterwards, I had to ask myself, who the fuck does Ace Steel think he is?
The whole thing to me is, well, one, it's childish. Two, it also makes me wonder how many times this went on back in the day before there was Twitter. And I do believe it happened a lot of times, but they were men back then, and they solved it with fights backstage, I truly believe, or maybe confronting each other. And then they moved on, and the company went on. CM Punk is the biggest pussy or I shouldn't say pussy because he probably had no problem fighting these fucking teenagers, but he is so toxic that any company, and I knew that the second that this guy started attacking Hulk Hogan and saying how much he hated Hogan and he's making fun of Hogan on Twitter, I cannot stand CM Punk. Couldn't stand him. I when he came back, I tuned in because his return was perfectly well done. It was a great return, the way they let it go down. But he is toxic. He sucks. I don't like him. I think he's slow. I think he's lost a lot of steps, not just one. He's lost a whole lot of steps. I don't think he needed the title. And would it have helped MJF if he stuck around? Sure, because MJF would have gone over on him. But I don't like him. I don't like the Bucks. I hate Hangman Page. And I was a fan of him when he won the very first, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are the AEW attorneys. Did he not win a Battle Royal on one of the first few, to get the first title shot or something when AEW first started?
He did.
Right?
It was the very first AEW championship with Jericho against Hangman.
And he was fighting with oh man, I was about to name drop someone and now I can't remember his name. I was about to show you. No, it wasn't Pac, man. It was Jimmy, that fucking nut job. He looked like a teenager too, and then he got canceled. Jimmy something.
Jimmy Havoc.
That was
it. Jimmy Havoc. Wow, it was a blast.
For a living.
Right? They were fighting each other outside the ring after the Battle Royal or something like that. But anyway, yeah, I liked Hangman back then, and then he just Hurls was right about him, and Hurls, we attacked Impact, but I'm going to give you credit right now. You hit the nail on the head when it came to Hangman Page. He's soft, he can't cut a promo, he stinks, and all these guys, I wouldn't give a fuck if I never saw any of them ever again on my TV. And AEW has such an established roster. And they have a mixture, just like TNA did back in the day, of young guys and veterans, that it could be so good. Do we need the Bucks? Do we need Punk? Do we need Page? No, we don't. So I wish they all would just go away.
I did make a note, by the way, Goldberg, to make an edit at about the hour and 4-minute mark.
Yeah.
To cut that piece out where you complimented Hurls. We can't have that, dude. We have to have some sort of standards around here. This is the freaking HeelCast.
My bad.
Damn you. And he was right about that. He was right about that.
I doubted him. I said, I like this. Hangman's he's the next big guy. He's got the look.
He did.
Unfortunately, all he has is the look.
Unfortunately, he decided to be, wait for it, a cowboy that drives to the ring, not in a big pickup truck like Stone Cold would do, or heaven forbid a four-wheeler, which, by the way, his four-wheeler driving at WrestleMania was outstanding, especially for a man his age. He came in a Tesla and they taped horns to it. It was like
his outfits. Yeah.
Oh,
all right.
God.
He came to the ring in Tesla and then cried when Elon Musk took over Twitter.
Right? God, God above, help me. All right, let's move on. Let's get away. This was awful.
And I do want to say this because Goldberg, you tried to put some words in my mouth. I've never been on the Adam Page bandwagon. He was a little bit better than I thought he was, but I am not a fan. I did not like the world title reign, and he's a not a cowboy per se, but a whining liberal bitch.
I was on the bandwagon and I fell off when a Tesla came to the ring. It's like this is supposed to be a bandwagon, man. This is.
I know Griggs is still on that bandwagon. He's still thinking, he's back on that drinking the booze with Hangman from his original gimmick. But
I was on it too. But let's go. What do we got?
Saw that Tesla, his wiener tucked back into his butthole real quick.
And I like Teslas. I'm not gonna lie. I like Teslas. I almost bought one at one point, but this is just not fit that gimmick at all.
I was just sparking the Griggs and Elon Musk feud to back up, but
I know where that was headed.
The biggest story in the professional wrestling business happened in 2022.
Wait a minute, hold on. No, you didn't do a show. Did you do a show for the HeelCast in 2022?
No, I did not.
Okay, so that I'm sorry. I was going to say RVE rejoins the HeelCast.
No, that's 2023's biggest story.
That's right.
Fuck Sasha Banks. You got the RVE here.
I mean, I could do that if you like.
I probably could. Of all the things that this fucking piece of shit, scumbag, evil, goddamn cocksucking motherfucker ever did that should have got him canceled, in trouble, it took paying for a blowjob and paying them off to get Vince McMahon canceled. And now I'm the most anti-cancel culture person you can imagine, but fuck Vince McMahon. If anyone deserved it, it was him. The Vince sex scandal comes out, and eventually there's rumors and articles saying more of this shit is going to come out. There's the female ref said that he raped her too. But Vince McMahon resigned and left the WWE this year. The biggest man, the biggest name, the biggest I mean, I don't even know how to say this, to describe this guy, but this is the most powerful man in the history of this business by far. Has stepped away. His son-in-law is taking it over with. And now it seems like the hoarding is coming back. A lot of people want to come back to work for the WWE. Eric Young has left Impact. You got AEW wrestlers trying to leave to come work apparently to get out of their contracts to come work with Triple H. You had Bobby Fish be the mole that tried to get everyone else to leave and was like, who's coming with me, man? You guys leave. And then he just got fired and wound up in Impact getting pin drops her to try and bring everyone back for NXT or WWE. But Vince now apparently wants back. But my God, Vince McMahon left the WWE and he finally somewhat got canceled. I know the dude has been waiting on this for years and years and years and years like I have. So I'm going to start with Goldberg so we can kind of ease it back around.
Okay. So, I have a love-hate relationship with Vince McMahon. So,
me too.
It's so. I mean, who among us hasn't paid off women to not? No, I'm just kidding. But
apparently just you.
No,
I've had this conversation.
I'm totally joking, but like
I usually get paid off, just for the record. They
My
don't let
thing is-
anybody know they were with me.
But I'm with you, RVE, like on the fact, like I hate the cancel culture thing, and also like Vince. People have come out with accusations, but I don't think he's. I mean, I know he hasn't been prosecuted of anything, right? So I don't like the cancel culture thing. I think Vince's time was up, regardless, and I think the creative. He saw his time; it was over. But it's such a double-edged sword for me because this guy, I hated him when he took WCW out of business, but he is still a legend. He is, to me. There's very few icons in the wrestling business. He is one of them. I think he has to be one of them. He is. I don't even know how to explain it, but because I don't like him, I really don't like him, but I do like him. So I don't know how to explain it. Maybe one of you could do a better job. Well, I don't think RVE could do a better job because he hates him. But maybe.
Yeah, let's go with the guy who hates him every bit as much.
We on me now? We're ready for me? Okay,
go.
so first of all, I have a love-hate relationship with Vince McMahon. I absolutely love hating the motherfucker. Look, the son of a bitch had a great opportunity to take WCW, keep it around, and have two very distinct brands, two very distinct wrestling products, and keep 12 million viewers, or parts thereof, because both shows were doing about 6 a week at one point. There were tons of viewers, and keep them all and keep them happy. And instead, his ego got in the way. He had to win, so he shows up on WCW and says F everybody, and expected us to come over. Well, wrong, motherfucker. We're not coming over because we don't like you. We don't like your product. As far as Vince McMahon, it's funny you guys mentioned about Vince McMahon and paying hush money, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I bet Jimmy Snuka turned over in his grave and was like, thank God you weren't publicly traded when I was fucking wrestling. Am I right or not? Because that's the kind of shit that Vince does. It's the kind of shit that Vince did. Vince would pay off anybody to get what he needed to get done so he could make even more money. He's never cared about a human being in his life. If you don't believe me, ask Linda. Okay? If you cared about Linda, none of this shit would be happening. So he's a piece of garbage. I'm not a fan of cancel culture either, but I'm not convinced he got canceled. I think he just lost his job, right? Now, he does control 80% of the voting stock. Okay, but they say the board of directors has to vote him back in. So I don't know how that works when he could basically, it sounds like if he's got 80% of the voting power, he could put a new board of directors in to put him in, right? I think the thing that we potentially keep him back is the networks. If the networks say, look, if you come back, you're done, okay, or we're going to give you less money, right? I think that's the kind of thing that's probably about the only thing that will keep him from coming back, except maybe death. But when he dies, hell's going to get a little bit hotter, right? There's no doubt about that at all. But he is one of the biggest pieces of shit that's been around in my lifetime. I think we can all agree people like
all right, so
Putin.
you completely conned me into thinking that you actually had a love-hate relationship with Vince.
No, I love to hate Vince. Look, Goldberg, if you know one thing about me, it's I hate Vince McMahon.
Hold on. All right, RVE, let's hear your monologue before I chime back in.
I think you might like mine a little bit more, Goldberg, to be honest. So, look, man, my childhood, people played with fucking Legos, Transformers, whatever. Dude, I played with fucking Hasbro.
Yourself.
And myself. That was a few years later, but yes, some of the product that Vince put out definitely got me into that in the Attitude Era days. But, man, I mean, my childhood, man, like so many memories. And I love the fucking golden age of the WWF, man, is my favorite shit. The late 80s is my favorite thing about wrestling. I still go watch the old stuff that he put on. My teenage years, the Attitude Era, like this in the NFL, pro wrestling and his product mainly, until WCW and ECW back in the, mid 90s, but whatever, that doesn't matter. Kind of shaped me. This was what I grew up on. I have a huge nostalgia fact for the product that man put out. That said,
he's still a piece of shit.
Yeah, the thing, the internet. I read books. The internet. I grow up and I realize like, not only has this man's product been horrible for the past dozen years, like embarrassingly bad, that I think anyone that watches is either a little kid or I'm sorry, a mental retard at this point. But like learning what kind of a fucking human being he is, like I can't, even if I liked the company, I don't think I could have supported it at this point. Like, dude, he paying for sex and being an adulterer is like the most minuscule fucking thing he's done, from covering up fucking Snooka's murder to Pat Patterson molesting fucking boys. You know, you look at it, the lifestyle that he forced on his talent. Granted, he made them some money, but he has so much blood on his hands and so many fucking early deaths that are contributed directly to the fucking way that this man made people live. You know, and every time that some shit would come out, because he's been close to being canceled years before cancel culture was a thing. But you know what he did is he sent his little fucking goons out on TV because he knows how dumb his fucking fan base is. Stand up for WWE. He's a piece of shit, man. You know, the fucking Chris Benoit things happen. Hold on, man. And you got people that speak out that are saying, look, this is a product of the business, and they're fucking blackmailing him and anyone because they monopolize it at the time. Like, you know, they shut you down. You're not going to bring up what we have done to help, you know, prevent this from the future, to explain like how this got there. You're blacklisted from making a living, ever getting anything, you know, and his shitbag daughter, the apple doesn't fall that far from the tree. I will say I will watch the Royal Rumble because now it's Triple H's product after so many months to see if it's tolerable again. But fuck Vince McMahon. That's my take, Goldberg.
Okay. I just wanted to ask you both one question. And I get it. I completely get both of your sentiments. And I'm fine. Like, I'm fine with it. Like, I get it. I get everything you both just said. But I want to ask you one question. Do you consider the guy, like, let's forget all the cover-ups and all the shit you just said, which obviously that's impossible. But do you consider him an icon in the wrestling industry?
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. No one's denying that.
But I also consider the devil to be an icon.
Yeah, that's fair. It's fair. And that's the thing that gets me, is because I see him, like when he came back and took that horrible stunner, and like I get mixed emotions. I get it. And listen, I hated him more than anyone because I'm the biggest WCW mark. Well, maybe not more than WCW. No,
you're not. Thank you.
but WCW. So I listen, growing up, I had friends who loved WWF, and frankly, all my friends loved WWF. And back then it was like, so I grew up in the 90s.
Loving WWF.
But I grew up in the 90s, and it was like, okay, I compare it to, like, it might sound gay, but hey, you compare it to, like,
you can come out, Goldberg. It's okay.
Let me come out real quick.
It's a safe space.
You compare it to, like, the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, right? You had to pick a boy band when I was growing up. That sounds gay. However,
it does. It actually really did.
Like,
You think it was going to sound that gay?
Far away from me, and I didn't pick one.
The point is, you had to pick a side. And wrestling, you had to pick a side. And I picked WCW, and I rode with WCW. And when Vince bought WCW out, it was the most devastating. I was so fucking devastated, and it ruined, to this day, why I hate wrestling is probably because Vince bought out WCW. But
and yet here you are on a wrestling podcast proclaiming your love for him.
I don't love him by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just I maybe respect the fact that he did blow WCW so badly, man. What they could have done with that angle. Oh my God. Oh man. Easily. You know what? I'm on your side. Fuck him.
I'll pass on that part, but yeah.
Nah, but all right, we gotta. I know we gotta wrap up. We gotta wrap this up, but yeah, that's how I feel. To me, it's a double-edged sword. I have respect for him, I should say, but I hate him for what he's done to the wrestling, making it a monopoly. Yeah, your boy Tony Khan, RVE, came in and tried to do something, but his shit.
Let's not forget, like, firing people if they didn't do, steroids back in the day, and all the
Or
cover-ups.
if you were injured, you're going to lose your spot.
Well, I think, okay, here, I'm going to toot Hurls' horn one more time real quick before we finish. I
Coming
think
out of the closet to toot Hurls' horn.
this is including AEW. TNA has been the best thing that has happened since wrestling since WCW went out of business. There you go. Not Impact, TNA.
Yeah, I knew where you were going with that one. Sorry,
I can
Hurls.
probably agree with you there. I will say one thing before we move on to close out the show. I never felt the need to pick a side. I was a WWF, a WCW, and an ECW fan. I still am with all three of those. I loved wrestling, man. I wanted them all to succeed.
Yeah. As time goes on, RV, oh man, do I agree. I wish all three of them were still around. I mean, naturally. But it's even ECW, I did not have a full appreciation for it at the time because it wasn't as mainstream. But when TNA brought them back and gave them their little send-off show, fucking loved it.
All right, gentlemen. So we're running long. Let's wrap this up with our picks for the awards of the year. Look, I'm not going to do a women's wrestler of the year because let's be honest, I only watch AEW, and I can promise you the best women's wrestler of the year is not in that company.
Oh, no. Wait, whoa. I'll give that award. Women's Wrestler of the Year.
I was going to say, you're the only one who can have that.
CM Punk.
Hangman Adam Page.
Damn, I don't know who's got the better answer there, but it's close. So, wrestler of 2022, Goldberg.
Man. Okay. I mean, unfortunately, you're not gonna like it, but I gotta go. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go
not him.
No, I'm gonna be legitimate. Because I had something in mind, but I'm gonna be legitimate. I gotta go with Roman Reigns.
Oh, that's not that's who we said don't go with.
I have to only because I know it's easy, but MJF would be like third for me because I'm gonna say something stupid real quick, and I'm gonna make it so quick.
That's it.
But I'm gonna say something stupid. No, I'm gonna say something stupid. Roman Reigns would be my number one because of the fact that I respect what he's done. But my number one wrestler on my list would be the guy who literally just made me tune into wrestling again. And I'm sorry. It's Jeff Jarrett. It's Jeff Jarrett. I love this guy. I loved him in TNA, and he still got it. You don't know what's real and what's not with him. And he curses the fans out, and he's just so fucking good. I love this guy. All right, go ahead. Someone else.
Dude.
Yeah, so I think it's hard. First of all, I do understand, and if you're talking about drawing power and holding that company down, I think Roman Reigns really does deserve, some form of a nod. But since I don't watch that show or like it in any way, shape, or form, I'm just going to tell him to go fuck off. And I think Jon Moxley answered every bell. I think that he had some demons that he got rid of. Another guy that I think deserves a mention too is Bryan Danielson. His work was just outstanding. Every match that he had was off the charts in terms of quality. His mic work, character work were great too. He wasn't given a whole lot of feuds, but his work was just phenomenal. What more do you expect? And a guy I'm going to put an asterisk next to because he was really only around for about a month of the year, but really had a massive impact would be Cody Rhodes. I think that Cody Rhodes on Impact of what he did switching, I think that he deserves an asterisk, but you can't give it to him when you only wrestled for a few weeks of the year and then you were done.
So, I mean, I would love to say MJF, but he was not around long enough this year. He was gone for spurts of time. It's I think the easy layup, no brainer is Jon Moxley. Can't give this guy enough props. Everything that was needed out of him, he did, including the ugly CM Punk thing. He gave up his vacation, which he still hasn't apparently fucking taken from the looks of it.
Twice we should add.
Put the belt back on him, even though it was did not do him any favors. Go put MJF over. I have it a tie, and this is work rated and entertainment only. Is Dax Harwood, even though I only saw him win one match, which was against his own tag team partner. That dude was in a lot of singles matches, and I could swear every single one of them was fucking great. And
is that FTR bald or FTR hair?
FTR bald, and I will say this: he is the best seller in today's wrestling business, other than maybe the legendary Christian Cage. So, our tag team of the year, I'll kick it to the dude.
Tag team of the year. Well,
wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know we're behind. Well, we might finish in 5 minutes, but I'm sorry. I do think Chris Jericho deserves a little love. I think he put in a lot of hard work this year, and I think his name deserves to be mentioned on that list. Even though I think he's a hog, he's a spotlight hog, and he spoils everything on his own podcast. But I think he put in a fucking lot of work this year, so wanted to mention his name.
Never opposed to that. Well, dude, your tag team of the year.
You know what? I think I'm gonna give it to a team that I would also give the breakout tag team of the year award to, the Acclaimed. I think they went over in a massive way. It's tough not to give this to FTR for everything that they did, but they just weren't featured on TV, and it's through no fault of their own. I love your giving Dax Harwood some love there. I think that both him and Cash Wheeler deserve a lot more love than they get. But when I go with team of the year, and I just they were the breakout team. I gotta go Acclaimed, and then FTR.
Goldberg.
Yeah, for me, I won't drag this out. I'm gonna go with the team that returned this year and has had some incredible matches. Shout out Hurls. I'm going with the Motor City Machine Gun.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. I really thought that's where you were headed.
Nah. Too soon.
I'm never anti Motor City Machine Gun. For me, it's a layup, no brainer. It's FTR. Acclaim definitely in second place. So love both of them. I'm just for me, 2022 is a year of FTR. Match of the year, I'll say right now, match of the year for me was FTR versus the Briscoes. All of them, all three of them. I've literally every one that seemed to top the other, and every single one of them was a fucking classic. That last one, the dog collar match, I thought there's no way it's going to be that good. Holy shit. I've been around since the 80s. I watched them all. This is the best feud of tag team matches I have ever seen put on in the business. Those two, any time of the day. Goldberg, your match of the year.
Ooh, my God. No, someone else needs to start.
I think that's a good choice. I do,
sorry.
But
yeah, go ahead.
You said somebody else needs to go, so I
ran. No, I just thought of mine, but go. You're go.
But I'm gonna go a little different. I'm gonna go Anarchy in the Arena. I'm also gonna look back at Moxley and Danielson, which I thought was awesome. I'll give Danielson a little bit of love here, and Moxley too. And actually, Punk versus MJF was a great match as well. But definitely love to your choice as well.
My choice? I didn't even give my choice.
I'm talking to him. You haven't given your choice yet.
How do you know he didn't say his yet either, did he?
He did. Where have you been? FTR and the Briscoes. He talked about the dog collar match and how great it was.
I thought that was part of his tag team speech.
It's everything. It's everything I have an answer for is FTR pretty much.
Like literally, FTR is the answer to every one of these questions.
Hold on.
With him.
Hey, was that your match of the year?
Match of the year, yeah. FTR and Briscoes.
Dude,
okay.
It's posted in the chat window, so you didn't even have to listen to it.
I literally said it was like the best feud of all time as far as tag team matches in a series goes.
Oh, so you don't respect the Nasty Boys?
I do not respect the Nasty Boys at all.
No, we don't.
You don't respect the TNA run of the Nasty Boys?
Now, it's a close
right,
it's Goldberg.
No, don't go back.
Match of the year. I'm going. I'm going Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
Which one?
The one where the ring got flipped upside down.
I will not actually make fun of you for that one. I will give that match props.
It was a good match.
SummerSlam.
And I don't watch many matches either, regardless of the company. And that was a good match.
I'll have to look that one up. SummerSlam.
Feud of the year best feud of 2022. Bet you guys are really confused as to where I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go FTR on the Briscoes.
What?
Dude, your feud of the year.
Oh man, I'm thinking maybe Jordan Disgrace and her PEDs. No, how about Vince McMahon versus his investors? I'm thinking maybe it's the entire AEW locker room or just the EVPs versus Punk.
Technically,
if I can't give it to any of those, the problem with giving the one that you gave is that they were a series of 3 great, phenomenal matches, but there was no TV time because apparently the Briscoes aren't allowed on TV. So I'm actually going to go. This one was a tough one for me, and I'm probably getting it wrong, but I'm actually going to go MJF and Wardlow. I really like that feud.
And actually, you have a good point. And real quick, I'll kick it to Goldberg.
Rollins and Cody was actually good too, to be fair.
Some that was on TV, because you do have a solid point. I'm going to go MJF and CM Punk, which concluded at the end of this year. Goldberg?
Actually, yeah, I think that was more in 2021, though.
It did end at Revolution with the dog.
It did end there.
I agree with you, dude. I think Rollins and Cody might be up there. Probably top 3, but for me, the only thing that literally had me watching wrestling and watching a pay-per-view was Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. So unfortunately, I have to go with that feud.
You're excited about it, you know it, goddammit.
All right, final award, best event, pay-per-view, show, whatever, of 2022. For me, for whatever reason, I feel like this is always the best pay-per-view of the year. It's Revolution. 2022, I will give a very, very close nod, neck and neck, to the very surprising Forbidden Door, which I had zero interest in, and watched it and was blown away at how good this show was. The really only negative part to it was the terrible finish to the New Japan World Title match, or IWGP, because Adam Cole got knocked the fuck out, and it was just like, what in the hell just happened? But that's mine. I'll go to the dude, and we can finish it off with Goldberg, and then head into 23.
I mean, what AEW pay-per-view didn't just end badly, right? I mean, I guess we got to go with what was it? All Out, where MJF finally won the belt. Was that an All Out that he won it? Which one did he win?
No, that was
Double
Full
or
Gear.
Nothing.
He defeated Moxley.
It was Full Gear, where he defeated. I mean, I guess just because, but honestly, AEW just managed to put Punk over in those situations and fuck up every last one of them. And I don't really watch WWE, so like I don't know. I don't think there were too many good ones. There's a stench.
I will say Double or Nothing 2022 was literally the worst pay-per-view AEW has ever put on. And there was about 17 matches on it, too. But Goldberg, the final say, brother.
Here's your big laugh that I've been waiting to tell you guys the whole show. My favorite pay-per-view of the year. The only pay-per-view that I watched the entire card from first match to last match.
Wait a minute. Hold on a sec. Let me guess.
And I want to give
Forbidden Door.
I want to give both of you one guess.
Forbidden Door.
Dude, wrong. RV,
Slammiversary.
Wrong.
Hold on a second.
You're both wrong.
I was gonna go with what's the New Japan one that they just had called again?
Wrong. If you think I watched Kenny Omega fight in a match and included that on my list, then you don't know me.
I feel like I don't know you.
Here it is. Are you ready for this? The best pay-per-view of the year. Jacob Fatu became a star. A Star is Born. Ric Flair's last match was the best card.
You know what?
Oh, you son of a bitch.
You know what? That's a great answer, because it's the only other pay-per-view that I watched, and it was great.
It was good.
It was good. You know what?
Awful.
You know what, Goldberg? I'm stealing your answer on this one. I'm in agreement.
Thank you, dude. Bro, all right. First of all, Rick. All right, did you actually watch the Ric Flair match real quick before we sign off?
I watched it from start to finish. I watched the fucking roast of Ric Flair.
Hold on, you didn't think Fatu stole the show? Number one, let me put that out there. Number one,
I think there was one good match on that show, and that was Fatu and Alexander.
No. The 4-way match with what's the guy from Impact? The guy that wears the fucking face paint, and he teamed around with Jesus Christ. It was a 4-way. What is it?
Black Taurus.
Yes, Taurus. Black Taurus.
Whatever.
I'm talking about Black Taurus. But no, yes, man, he stole the show too. Black Taurus is a really he was so good. But to me, Fatu was the best thing that I've seen all year out of anyone. The guy is incredible. But if you watch the Ric Flair match, which you both just told me you did you not think that when they were handing him the brass knucks and his hand was shaking, did you not think he was going to die in the ring?
Well, the only reason I watched the show was to see if you would.
I know was the win. Was Ric Flair not dying in the ring?
Wait, but hold on. But did you either one of you watch it live?
Yes.
I
think I watched it with you guys.
You didn't see his hand shaking when they were trying to give him the knucks and he couldn't even grab the brass knucks?
I did not.
Oh my God. I was telling my buddy, my buddy paid for it. I didn't pay for it. Sole discretion. I didn't pay for it, but he did. And I was telling him, this guy's about to die. I don't think he's going to make it out of this. But I think that's how Ric Flair would want it.
It is. He wants to die in the ring. All right. So look, I got a couple more categories. You all don't have to comment on them if you don't want to. You can if you do. But I got a couple other ones, right? Comeback of the year. I think it's got to go to Ric Flair. He made a ton of money for that one match. If it's not Ric Flair, my other options, Saraya. She might seem like she sucks, but that's a heck of a comeback.
Oh, no.
Jeff Jarrett. Okay.
Yes.
And with an asterisk, because it really wasn't much of a comeback, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay.
I think I go with Stone Cold.
Just saying. Breakout star, Logan Paul.
22?
Yes.
The Acclaim.
Well, they're breakout tag team. They're breakout tag team.
MJF.
Individual. I felt like he had already broken out. Tony Storm for female, and in 2023, my breakout star prediction, Ricky Starks.
I know it's all of ours.
Rookie of the year, obviously, if he's a breakout star, Logan Paul, right?
I guess I don't know who was an actual rookie, so I guess I could give you that.
Biggest winner, Trips and Stephanie.
Yeah.
Biggest loser, Vince McMahon, CM Punk.
No, Shane McMahon.
I can see Shane McMahon too, but Vince lost a lot. Right? Shane McMahon just didn't gain anything. He might not have won it.
I don't think Vince only lost his I don't think he lost any money. So
he lost his life. He lost his life though. Like his entire life.
You know damn well he wants to come out and be on TV.
Oh
again, at some point.
Yeah.
So
he still thinks he's on TV. And then finally the most underrated wrestler and Raven Effect, this is where I put Dax Hardwood in. Dax Hardwood in. I think he's absolutely the most underrated wrestler in all professional wrestling.
I will give you that too, although I will also say not only him, I'll throw Pentagon in there.
Oh,
Pentagon and his brother.
Yeah, I like Phoenix, man. I like Phoenix.
Apparently it's Phoenix, although I call him Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix. I was just going to say Phoenix. All right, I got one more question real quick before we wrap this up. Here we go. Who is the most who in AEW is being pushed that should not be pushed? Who is the biggest teenage-looking over-pushed guy in AEW?
Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta.
Wheeler Yuta at least has facial hair.
And then we'll put Jungle Boy there.
And now number one.
No,
it's
Darcy Allin. Darcy all out. It's no doubt.
You know what? Your comeback of the year, don't call it a comeback, I
can call that a comeback. I could buy into him. Yep, for sure.
He didn't wrestle all year. He was supposed to actually retire.
Yep. Yeah, that might be a great winner for that one.
He is in better shape than your boy.
I'm not a Keith Lee fan. I don't think it's bad, but I'm not a big fan of either one of those guys.
Someone tell me where I said I'm a big Keith Lee fan because it's not on record.
Biggest blown push: Powerhouse Willie Hobbs or Moose?
Wardlow.
He got a little bit of a push though.
I mean, I feel like next year we might be saying that about the MJF. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
I think they're pissing that one away pretty hard.
I think I'm gonna wrap my part up here with a little Hurls love. Hurls, you didn't come on. We're really upset that you didn't, because the biggest miss push is Moose, man, forever, and ever.
I agree.
At least Wardlow got something. At least he got something. Moose,
most overrated, Josh Alexander. There you go. Hurls just disowned me.
How about fuck, I don't know. We somehow have to make a way to make light of the fact that Tyrus won the NWA Heavyweight Championship on this show.
That doesn't count as wrestling.
I mean, biggest
booking in the
greatest.
Is there any doubt that was done because he's fucking on Gutfeld every night? Or
oh yeah.
Also, look who he won the belt from, for fuck's sake.
Who'd he beat again?
Trevor Murdoch.
Right.
This company literally has Brand, it has EC3, it has James Storm, it has the Pope, and it's Trevor Murdoch against Tyrus. And don't forget Chris Masters.
Where will Nick Aldis end up in 2023? Final prediction.
AEW.
No.
AEW. Okay. Where will Ryback end up?
Ryback will end up on Twitter.
Yep.
Retired. I don't think he's serious. I don't think Ryback will ever return to the ring. But Nick Aldis, man, I like that guy, and I hope he goes back to Impact to at least give them another decent name.
Them or maybe MLW. I don't think he goes much further than that. All I'm going to say is that Trevor Murdoch versus Tyrus reminds me a lot of Dada 2000 versus Kimbo Slice, or Dada 5000, whatever the hell the guy's name was, versus Kimbo Slice. I'm just saying. That's what that match reminds me of, and how you could book it is beyond me.
Hey, RB, was he Dada 3000?
5,000.
I think it was 5. I don't know.
It was
5. Okay. All right. Well done. Well, great shout out. RV, go ahead. You were going to say
gentlemen, you were
going to say something.
Well, look, we're going to wrap up the show and go.
Yeah.
Where does FTR end up in 2023?
WWE.
Yeah, they said anything for a year, they're going to go back to WWE.
RVE, last question for you. When they come back, will you watch them in WWE?
It depends. It depends on how the Royal Rumble turns out. I've told myself when football regular season calms down, I will watch the Rumble and see how terrible WWE is and to see what happens from there, because it's no longer ran by Vince.
At this point, we might still have the regular season, the Royal Rumble.
That is true.
Dinesh, we love you.
And yeah, you're awesome, Dinesh.
Thank you for hanging with us.
If you're still listening, start a GoFundMe. We're gonna donate money to you for listening to this whole show.
No, we're not. You can donate to him.
And maybe Dinesh can donate to us.
That's what we think. We think he deserves to donate to us for the entertainment. Yeah. All right, take this thing home, my friends.
We've been entertaining you one show per year, so come on, give us some cash.
All right, we got to get the fuck out of 2022, head into 2023. It's late for them. I go to bed early all the time now. It's late for me. It's the RVE with the TNA WCW dude. And, of course, the hater of all haters, Goldberg. HeelCast out. We will see you in 2024.